Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to my YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about a Guardian list that is three cards off of Riley Hulbert's top 32 list from the World Championships. This is a list I took to a league challenge this weekend and that I was going to take to more locals, but I don't think the deck is really my type. I'm not really feeling it as much as I was in theory. I really like the idea of the deck because it has good matchups against Malamar, good Pikarom matchup, but its fire matchup is just so crippling that a part of me just wants to put it aside. I wanted to give it a try after Riley had so much success with it, moving through day one and earning a top 32 spot, if not almost top hitting the World Championships, being stopped in the final round. And I saw three or four more Guardian players in the top 32, as well as a bunch of Guardian make it through day one to day two. So I was a little bit inspired by their success, and I wanted to, bring the deck to life and try it out, right? So Gardevoir has a attack called Fairy Song, which lets you search your deck for two fairy attachment in your Pokemon in your bench Pokemon as any way you like. So basically, you just kind of get two or three Guardians and just start putting a bunch of energy on your board. And by turn two, turn three, you're Kaleidostorming and setting up for the Magical Miracle with 6 energy. And in the process, you're also healing your Guardians with Scooper Scoop Ups, mixed herbs, great potions, so you just theoretically never die. Magical Miracle is like incredibly powerful because with 3 extra fairy energy, you're putting your opponent's entire hand back into their deck, and in tandem with a power plant, it could be crippling and even game winning. So a lot of the time, Gardi has that one card trump card that just says, "Hey, I'm getting rid of your hand, and if you don't have a really good board or get rid of my hand." Or, I mean, sorry, if you don't have a really good board or top deck out of this, the game is over right here. There's two Cherish Balls, which is fine. You get what you need off the greens. You usually only need one to kind of stay alive because at that point you're just drawing cards. I would like a third. I think a third is pretty cool. But otherwise, I'd probably cut the ability charm for it, which I just tried out, and it wasn't in Riley's list. I just wanted to try it out for my local meta because I thought Heatran would be a card, and against things like Malamar, for Giratina, I can just slap it on and it would be an auto win. There are four custom catchers, pretty good card. You already know the drill for custom. There's two fidget spinners. This card pretty much gets you the free energy. It's an energy search at the end of the day, and if you're going second, you can pretty much grab two or three and just have a Cherish Ball plus energy spinner, and all of a sudden you're set for like the next 2 or 3 turns with your greens. You can fetch your healing cards that you need, and you can get your coach trainers and just draw cards. There's four Great Potion. I really liked Riley's answer on why four Great Potion is better than four Herbs, just because like the maximizing your healing for the 50 damage is more value than the 90 off the two Herbs. Sure, status conditions exist, but having that 100 net heal and one card potential use as opposed to having to have the both cards to burn is very important in matchups where you can get stamped low. There are two mixed herbs. This card is really good for removing the static conditions, and I think you still need that for that sole purpose. And play the two, heal the 90, heal the status. Really good against Choo Choo. Really good against Blounds, like, your typical matchup. Fire's already pretty bad, though, so I would, Blounds is just hard. There's four Pokegear, extra supporters. There's two Reset Stamp, also good late game. There's four Super Scoop Up. I tried it out with three. I wanted to try it with three, but I was very fortunate I kept the fourth because a lot of situations demand that you need to get two of your four to be heads to keep the game elongated, and playing four gives you better odds of just getting to that four, which is really good. There's one switch. I would have liked a second. There was some scenarios where like having my one switch gone or one switch prized did prove for some really awkward scenarios. There's three tag switch. Just move the energies around. Or you Fairy Song and then you attach to bench or active. Move Kaleido. You have four on the board. You can play with them as you'd like. Get to 5. Get to 6. You could even Fairy Song one more time. Use double tag switch, or switch plus tag switch, and now you have Magical Miracle GX, which is really good on turn 2-3. Three power plants exist. Power plant's pretty good because it's really good against some of the major decks like ability. Actually, it's good against. It's really really strong against Pikarom. That's where the power plant really comes into handy. Blounds, I guess, if they're playing the Nagata that discards energy, draws cards. Persian. Power plant is just an overall like good card for stopping Dedenne and like shenanigans. So I really like the heavy power plant in the deck. I was thinking about adding a fourth, because I saw some of the Japanese lists were playing for, but in hindsight, I'm pretty glad I didn't, just because I think Power Plant is a dead card in a lot of matchups. So you can kind of just be like, I don't really need the Power Plant besides the stamp plant turn, which is like your all important turn, and then having this many plants that you put down a plant early with greens and just Fairy Song for a couple turns and just, set up your board. There's a Wondrous Labyrinth, which is really, really good against these one prize decks. Even against Pikarom, even against Reshi at a certain stage of the game, if you can go Wondrous Lab Plant, sorry, not Plant, Wondrous Lab Stamp, you're in a really good spot from there, which I really, really like. There's one Bill's Analysis. I kept it because I think it's a good card. It's a fifth greens in theory, and I think it's a pretty solid card. I wanted the second Bills, but I opted to put in a Channeler because I saw a lot of Mew3 at the cup, and using Channeler to get rid of Latios's Clear Vision GX is very important in my opinion. And it's a good card. I think you need to have Channeler to take care of that. There's 4 coach trainers. It's a fine card. I don't know. I played it today and I felt like the card felt a little underwhelming, even though you are drawing 4 cards a lot of the time. But it was pretty cool at the end of the day. I think it was an okay card. I tried out a one of Copycat in place of Cynthia because Katron told me that there was a lot of use and weight out of it. And for him in his testing, so I put it in. Did not do jack squat for me. It was just an okay card. I feel like I could have done anything better in this slot, but here we are. There's 4 greens explorations. That's the meat of the deck. Greens is definitely the best supporter in this deck. Greens is absolutely lights out, perfectly good. It's the best supporter by far. And then you've got your tools. You got this one choice helmet. It mitigates the math between Reshi a little bit, Mirror a little bit. It just makes numbers a little bit funkier for your opponents to deal with. And then there's the Fairy Charm, which does prevent all damage, lightning. So this is really good against Pika. Even though they do play with 2 Lysander Labs, if they start a Labs war, you can power plant them out of their stadiums because you will win the stadium war inevitably. And you'll be stamping them at the same time, so they need to find all these pieces without using their main draw engine, which is Dedenne, which if they don't hit the stadium plus like a radar or like that, it's tough for them. But I will say, my round 1, I was almost donked by a Pikarom, and that is a little bit scary. There's Fairy Charm ability. This I put in just for the Guillotine, like I told you guys, and the Heatran and the Mew3. Just an idea. I like wanted to put it in. It made sense to me in my head, but it's one of those things where it's like in theory it's really good, but in practice it's not that awesome. So I think this could be cut for whatever you want it to be. I put in a Fairy Charm Ultra Beast. This was also already in there. Really good against the Blounds matchup. Ultra Necrozma. If this was a Fairy Charm Dragon, if that exists, I think you could just auto win some of these matchups. There's 8 fires, fairies, solid, very good text, and some of the text. Before I get into my report, some cards I think are really good. Also, where is this? Mimikyu GX. I think this card is super, super good in the deck. It's Snuggle and Fall. I think this attack is insane. Perplex is pretty good, and Dream Fear is a really good GX attack. And then if you're scared of Malamar, you can put in this Xerneas GX that has Overrun, Aurora Horns, and then the Sanctuary GX, which moves all of your damage. So Malamar is going to be aiming to spread, not put it all in one place because you have the Scoop Ups, and they know you have the Scoop Ups. So they're going to be trying to take multiple knockouts in the same turn, try to end the game similarly. So you just move all the damage onto their active in one fell swoop and clean up the game like that. And then you can Overrun, set up your own knockouts. And all of a sudden, you're mad chilling. So round 1 of this challenge, it was a 3-round challenge. Spoiler alert, I dropped. It was a 5-round challenge, but I played 3 rounds, dropped, and went home. Took a nap, and now I'm making this video. Round 1, I played against the Pikarom, and then turn 1, my hand was pretty mediocre. I didn't have the greens, so I was forced to Bills on turn 1. I Pokegeared and hit the Bills, and then off the Bills, I hit the greens for the next turn, and I hit greens. And I think I grabbed like a tag switch or something out of the 7 and put them in my hand, attached to active, and I passed. Because I had the spinner, so I got my 3 energies, and I put them in my hand. He opened Jirachi, so no indicator, and then he went turn 1, Thunder Mountain, bench, no, not bench Pika, but Radar for 2, Dedenne +1, calm the thing back in, get the Coco Prism, Dedenne away, all of his hand with the Coco on the bench, get another radar, bench everything. It was like Zorora Pika, and then pop the Coco, move the, get 2 onto Pika, 1 onto Zorora, E-Power, and then he E-Powered before Dedenne, sorry, and then he missed the knockout by basically just not having a switch card. I'm confident he had like another E-Power in his hand. Really scary right there. But then I was able to Fairy Song the following turn with a Lightning Charm, and then he brought up his Pika and Full Blitz with the Lysander Labs, and then I went Plant, Switch, Tag Switch, Kaleidostorm onto a newer Gardi after getting two Gardis off of this at this point. And then he went. Oh, and I tried double scoop ups and I hit double tails. And then he went and did his turn with another full blitz, I believe. And then I healed with double potion. And I bounced his second labs. And at that point, the game was over because he couldn't deal with my lightning charm. Yeah, and then game two, I went up against Darkbox. And for 4 turns, I didn't play a supporter. So he was slowly just powering up against board. And I had to Fairy Song, Fairy Song, Fairy Song. I opened double Gardi, which was fortunate, and then I Kaleidostormed 4 to the bench, and then he proceeded to go Darkrai Umbreon GX with 6 energy on the board on his active and 1 on each Naganadel, and then proceeded to. I did that, and I was like, okay, like I went bring up Kaleidostorm, I attached Kaleidostorm, go, like I can't do anything about this, and then he went draw. Calm for the Greninja Zoroark, put the Greninja Zoroark down, move all the energies to it, accelerate the 2, accelerate the 1, get like I think it was exact numbers he needed and just knocked me out. And I was like, okay, like I mean it is what it is. Like there's nothing I can do about it. My start was so slow, so I'm 1-1, and then I go up against Guardian Mirror, and I went second. I chose to go second, and then I think I pulled off the turn 3 Magical Miracle to get rid of his hand, and put myself in a really good spot, and then. There was a point in the game where I needed to scoop up heads to save my Gardi in the active, and I didn't get it. And then he used the Mimikyu GX to use Snuggle and Fall to knock it out. And then I missed the attack the following turn. And all this happened because he like top decked greens off of the stamp. Not the stamp, the Magical Miracle. So like already like I'm in a bad spot. And then he like 1 turn, I like split my energies 2-2. And then he proceeded to shuffle it back into the deck, and I had like 5 energies in like an 8-card deck, and I proceeded to just not draw an energy off the off the top because I couldn't play any supporters out of my hand, and I didn't want to copycat down. And so the game came down to if he didn't have double custom, I prized 1 custom, so I couldn't win by killing the damaged because he had 2 damaged Guardians and he was down to scoop ups and everything. And so if he didn't have double customs to clean up my Guardian that turn, I win the game because I just killed the Mimikyu. And I drew it off the prizes, so I knew I had game no matter what next turn. And then he had like an 8-card hand and like coach trainered and like took a solid like minute and a half to just go, oh hey, I have double custom, and I was like okay. And what upset me about this individual in particular is that like he did it the day before also, and he's known in the area for like slow rolling. He like literally told me after he like did it to get in my head yesterday, and he did. He played he played 4/4 Frostless at a challenge yesterday, so he got very much in my head. It just really irked me, but. The deck was cool. I'm not going to go on a rant about him. I'll talk about that on stream or something. The deck is cool. I like the deck. I like Guardian. Its fire matchup is abysmal. BO1, it felt like some of my games were just determined on like how my hand looked at the opening. And it was scary. It was a scary deck to play. It felt like Reshi without the oomph that Reshi has. And so I think it's a deck that you guys should definitely try out before AC and test it and put a little prep into it. But otherwise, I think it's definitely a solid tier 2 deck at the very least. So thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, remember to subscribe, remember to share with your friends if you want to, and check out my stream and follow me on Twitter.